says this is Axe. I don't even know why I have this. Hey. Hi. How are you? I am doing pretty good at the moment, I can't lie. I'm doing pretty good. Do you know what time it is? Do you know what time it is? It's time for another Teddy Talks ASMR video. My name is Teddy, and I am talking in a sort of ASMR style. In tonight's video, we will be talking about the pros and the cons, of teaching in the month of October. I am a teacher. I teach high school special education reading, and this is a series on my channel where I talk about the pros and cons. This is a series where I talk about the pros and cons of teaching in whatever month it is, and I typically post these kinds of videos at the end of each month. As always, I talk about my day, I talk about the week, and then I talk about the month. We get into the pros and the cons right after that, so we basically just have a little bit of a check-in, and then we gab. We just talk about the pros and the cons, because there's always pros and cons of each month. So, really quick, I wouldn't even say that this is a disclaimer, but I know that you are thinking, what is this outfit? What is going on? Why am I wearing this outfit? Where am I? If you're wondering where I'm at, I'm in the book room, right behind my classroom, and I will link the video I made going over or talking about my favorite books in the description. I did make another video. The difference, though, is the mic is working, so that's good. The microphone is working once again. We'll leave it at that. But we had a lo-fi moment in this room where I talked about my favorite books. Today we had the microphone working, and I think it sounds a lot more pleasant. The audio is way better, in my opinion. My outfit, so I did not wear it like this. I'm wearing a school shirt and I'm wearing a flannel over it. We'll get into it in a second, but I would never just wear a buttoned-up flannel to work. Love a flannel, especially now. That's a spoiler, but I am trying to not show you any personal information on the shirt. It just looks a little crazy. I mean, yeah, so it is black, and I took some bleached gel, and I bleached the shirt, kind of designed it, or at least like altered it a little bit, just for fun. I've gotten a lot of compliments on it, actually, and I was not expecting that. I just kind of went with the gel. So, forgive the crazy outfit, but I would never just wear it like this, but it works for the video because you can't see where I work. You don't need to know that. So, moving on, we talked about the location, we talked about my crazy outfit. It is crazy, it looks really wild, but we got that out of the way. So let's talk about my day, and then my week, and the month of October. Okay, so today is Monday. It's a random Monday in October. It's actually after MEA break. Every state has a different break, typically in the fall. I'm in Minnesota, so it's MEA break. And I feel good. I was expecting today to be a little more crazy, chaotic. I did lunch detention for the first time. I run lunch detention one day a week at school. That went extremely well. I was very surprised at how well that went. I'm happy with the system that we're doing. Not gonna get into it, but lunch detention today, good start to the week. And it was the first time I did it this substitute left a good note. So I have to shout out all my classes, and the people I work with are really amazing, and they kind of filled in, when the sub couldn't, the sub had questions or things, were missing. My people kind of filled in for me, and the sub left a good note. It's one thing when you were a student and the sub left a bad note, and you were on the receiving end of that. Definitely have been a student in that situation, but as a teacher, it's even worse when you get a note from a sub that things did not go well. That did not happen. My sub left a good note, and I feel very grateful. I'm feeling so much gratitude right now. It's starting to get a little corny between this channel and my personal life, and just feeling like people are there for me. It's amazing. So they left a good note. I shouted everybody out. I said, you guys did great. Every single class got good feedback, and that is amazing. It makes my life easy. So that's what I returned to today after being gone for a little bit. My week, I'll talk about last week. We had Monday, Tuesday, I was gone for that, and then we had MEA break after conferences. I've been really busy seeing friends and doing things. Every single weekend has been so busy. Just trying to find time to continue to make videos. I've been so consistent, and consistency is my only goal right now. So there's that as far as the week goes. As far as the month of October, I've had a lot of fun, again, making things that you will see after this video. Stick around for Halloween. I am still endorsing and still advocating that you stay and stick around for Halloween, because there's a fun something planned, and I may or may not dress up for that, or I already did dress up for that. Don't tell anybody. That's really it, guys. Like, I'm great. Things are going okay. I feel like people are there for me in real life and on this channel. It's been great. I want to make a channel update soon, and I'm really glad I tried to film one. It didn't work, and I'm glad it didn't work because I have so much more to talk about now versus like 3 to 4 weeks ago. So that is coming. Because I was gone from school, I actually have to stay tonight and work on things. I don't have to, but it makes me feel a lot better when I can just cram. So I kind of have to stay tonight and work after I film this video. And I'm very excited to calm down, talk about the month of October. That's what we're doing, so let's move on with the video. I'm going to pull up my list. I pulled up my list of things. As always, we talk about the pros, we talk about the cons, pros, cons, and then we talk about the pros and the cons. Some things are good and bad at the same time, very much yin and yang, right? So let's actually start with the pros and the cons of teaching in October. In general, things get colder. People have settled in as far as new students and new things, and everything is new. That has subsided by October. So the first pro and con, remember this is kind of the middle of the Venn diagram, right? It's the pros and the cons are kind of like crossing over. My biggest thing about October that is good and bad, depending on the year, you know what kind of year you will have as a teacher. What I mean by that is nothing really changes beyond this point, because you know how the other teachers are enforcing things, you know who's going to be in the hallway at what time, you know how long things will take, you kind of know what's going to stick throughout the year, and you know what will not. And that is different per every school. For me, the biggest thing is I know kind of what classes I will have, what classes will be good, hard, easy. I wouldn't say bad. No class or student is bad, but there is different behavior management that you will have to manage as the teacher. Even if you think that's your job or not, you still have to manage behavior. first week hits and I feel like I know what to expect when certain classes come in, what I'll have to do, when can I leave the room, and when can I not. Just things like that. So some years, this is actually, I need to remember to say this because I knew I'd forget. I'm not forgetting. This year is really good so far. So I know that the rest of the semester is probably going to be good. It's probably going to be okay. There's nothing new anymore. There's no new students. So I just feel good. Other years, and I won't say which years, but there have been some years where I know that it's going to be a little rough. And not even with behavior, but more or less with phones. I want to make a whole video with phones. Well, not with phones, but just about phones and whose job is it to enforce that and take it away, and how are they affecting the school environment and teachers and parents and admin and students. So that's not this video, but I feel like this year our phones are way better. We're getting off the phone. We're putting it away for longer. If certain students are on their phones too much, there's more of a plan in place. Other years I've had, I just kind of feel like, and this is like a long time ago, kind of when I first started teaching, there were some years where already by October it was so difficult for students to concentrate and keep their phones away because there wasn't really a plan. Or maybe I didn't have a plan as a teacher. I don't know. I just feel like I know more or less. Well, I know more what I have to do now. I just know more, and that helps me plan and kind of enforce rules and kind of guides what I do when somebody has their phone out and they don't put it away after 1, 2, 3 warnings. So there's that. Let's talk about the pros. The pros of teaching in October. So, guys, fall. The leaves are falling. Fall. Why did that sound like I had a New York accent or a Boston accent? Fall is here. I like fall. I think my favorite seasons are winter and summer. But as I get older, the heat is too much. It goes on for too long, in my opinion. But that's just an old person opinion. Things are getting colder. We're transitioning. It gets way prettier outside with all the orange and yellow and red undertones on the trees. There's more animals, like they're hibernating, getting ready for hibernation. Fall is here. That's such a big one. It's definitely more festive. That is another pro. Labor Day is in September, but nobody really goes up for Labor Day. We're not like, hey, we're not throwing parties or ragers. You can't really dress up for Labor Day, but Halloween you can. MEA, I guess you could. Well, MEA is not a holiday, but something about it feels festive too. It's our first major break of the year. But even though I can't dress up, I work at a public school. We're not allowed to dress up for Halloween, which is totally understandable. I can still wear orange. They're not gonna get mad at me for wearing orange. No one will get mad at me for wearing an orange shirt or pants or whatever. But with Halloween in the air, you can still talk about Halloween and what people celebrate or don't celebrate, and that is very fun. There's just more icebreaker, journal, get to know you kind of things with fall and talking about, what you did this weekend. I feel like more people, do more things, during fall time. The weekends are more fun. That is another pro. Haunted houses, orchards, getting outside, pumpkin patches, kind of getting outside one last time before things get really cold. I feel like students always have more to say about their weekend when fall hits. And I mentioned in my last video that September, a pro was seeing a lot of coworkers and things. I feel like a big thing, just kind of tying in the students and what they're doing. My weekends are really busy busy, like I mentioned, but there's just more to do. I feel like I see less of my coworkers because we already hung out in September, and I see more of my actual friends in October because fall's here, and we're trying to see each other before the winter hits. And I've, not to spoil anything, but I feel like in the winter I see people less because it's so cold in the Midwest. Nobody wants to leave their house or really go do anything, so we do our stuff in the fall. Maybe in November, but more likely in October we'll do some stuff. I already went to an orchard and I went to a haunted house this past weekend, so I did my due fall diligence and I got out there and did some stuff. Okay, last bro is MEA break. It's the first break. You made it halfway through the first semester. A quarter of the year is done, and that feels good. And I also like that parents seem to check in right away, so there is some more connection if you've had trouble reaching people. I don't know what that was. If you have trouble reaching certain parents, or you're kind of just begging for a check-in, maybe somebody is struggling in your class, parents and people are more likely to chat with you about that, especially at MEA conferences. Ours are 2 days in a row. For MEA, they're not always like that. So if a parent can't make one conference, they can make the other one. We have them at night and in the morning, and I think my school is awesome for that, giving parents choice and giving them time maybe to take work off to come in and talk about grades. I know that some parents might not, well, parents, teachers, I don't know who, but students might not care about their grades right now and might care more towards the end, but it is important to a certain extent unless the student is extremely independent. But as a teacher, I wish everybody came in, even though, you know, I'm not going to be a hypocrite. My parents stopped going to conferences after like my freshman year because I just did what I had to do, and I do think that is totally fine if you're a parent and you feel that way. But sometimes it's nice to hear that your student is doing good too. So don't be afraid to stop into some conferences throughout the year. But if your kid is independent, or you feel that they are or can be independent, that is great. Alright, let's get into the cons of teaching in October. So guys, the cons, these are real. These are very real to me. Melancholy sets in. Melancholy is a limbo between sadness and happiness. Maybe feeling grateful, but also kind of sad for no reason. It's so real for students, for teachers, I think for everybody, but specifically in the school setting, because the school year has really started. I always kind of get excited to come back to school sometimes, most of the time, but there's always a melancholy that sets in. You know, you leave in October one day and think, wait, there's no, you know, summer break happening tomorrow. Like, the school year has really started. This is the year I'm gonna have. These are the people I'm working with, and I'm not getting that summer break again until June, right? And like I said, you know, you might think, but you love school and being a teacher and everything. I'm happy to be back, but it's the realization that things are really starting, and like, I can't just, you know, do whatever I want in the middle of the week, like on summer break, because I think in September there's kind of that honeymoon period where you're still kind of riding the high of summer. By October, things get colder and winter will be coming, and there's just a melancholy about it. I don't know. This is the year you're going to have. Another school year is going to fly by, and there's nothing you can do about it. So you kind of just hope and pray that somebody learns something. And maybe for myself, I think I hope that I learn something and can provide something of substance to my classes. As I get older, and I've told you this, that I will turn 30 in May, you know, at the end of the school year. I think that the melancholy hits me harder because every school year goes by faster. If I didn't already articulate that, every school year just keeps getting faster and faster and faster, and I wish it would slow down a little bit. The fact that it doesn't go by slowly kind of makes me sad. You know, you want the school year to go by fast, but you also want to live your life outside of that. And with everything together, it's just like, it's going by way too fast, in my opinion. So, to summarize, the school year has started, you can now go back to summer, and life is moving fast. And that always hits in October. The next con, grading, needs to, like, you better, you know, that's me entering grades. You better get on that grading. You better get your grades in. I've been so good this year. I think I've been the best I have ever been because I knew things were going to be happening when I took the time off. Hold on. I knew that things would be happening when I took the time off. So I've been so good about leaving reminders for grading and grading during the day, sometimes grading at lunch and getting things in every 2 weeks, sometimes once a week, entering grades. It's always kind of intense because in September you're just getting to know the kids and get into material and set expectations. So when October hits and people say, what's my grade? Well, what is your grade? Luckily I have grades entered, but it can be very overwhelming. And it hasn't been overwhelming yet, but some years, you know, you have like 3 or 4 things to enter and you wish that you started earlier. So that's always a con. The grading needs to happen, and it needs to happen now in October. I cannot believe that we're at the last con already. Ready for the last one. It is testing season. Are you ready for the last one? It is testing season. Not training season, but testing season. It feels like training. Oh my gosh. This year we had some added testing on top of the testing that we were already doing, and it's fine. It's more data, but it is just so much sometimes to not even get to our book or a different activity or an icebreaker because we have to utilize every single minute for testing, especially with the students that I work with. I would feel bad if I took time away and they couldn't really accurately take the test or the test or the testing or the activity or whatever. All of October is testing, essentially. Sometimes it starts late September into October, and when I'm filming this, it is the end of October, so we're kind of over that hump of testing, but it definitely tires people out. Everybody, admin, parents, students, and teachers. I want to make sure I'm not generalizing for anybody, but I do feel like we all get a little tired. There's 1 test, okay, 2 tests, okay, 3 tests. Whoa, like, it is a lot. For anybody, you know, it's a lot to administer, it's a lot to take, it's a lot to hear about. And there's a lot of questions about why we're doing things, and I realize a lot of it is for funding and data tracking. But it's a tale as old as time that, you know, around MEA and we're entering grades, you're going to be taking some tests and administering some tests too. Sometimes students even miss class, and that is a whole other thing, and that's nobody's fault, but it's just a lot, you know. So that was the last con. We will wrap this up with a spray of the day. The spray of the day, I will make a video ending it as a segment. It was very fun while it lasted. I loved spray of the day. Still love it, but, you know, I went through all my sprays and I wasn't really thinking at the rate that I am putting out content, it's just not feasible to continue it. Like, I'm not going to redo sprays, you know. So, enjoy this classic. Have you ever been in middle school? You know what this is. This is Axe. I don't even know why I have this. I think if you work in a middle or a high school, you just acquire these relics, these artifacts. because, first of all, Axe, A-X-E. Axe is very smelly no matter what the scent. I just have that. I don't know why I have that. There's no story, there's no nothing. If I had to rate it, probably a 1 out of 10 because it doesn't even do much to cover up your body odor. You just smell like everybody knows. Everybody knows that you're sweaty and that you stink. Again, if it's the only thing that you can get, I get it, but let me tell you my traumatic experience with Axe body spray. In middle school, people would take these and put tape around it and then throw it in a room. It was called the Axe bomb. I'm not endorsing that. I'm just saying that is what happened when I was in middle school. And you would be in the locker room and it would go off and people got in trouble and everybody would cough and it would get in your eyes. That maybe happened only twice. I don't even remember if it happened in high school, but the thing is, some people discovered Axe in high school, thought it would be a good idea to spray, so it wasn't even like an Axe bomb, but they would spray so much that it still had the effect of a bomb, of an Axe bomb. And I'm kind of getting nauseous from what I sprayed anyway, from what I sprayed already. So yeah, that was kind of not the best end to spray of the day, and that's okay. We're gonna do another video at some point with myself ending the segment, saying goodbye, reminiscing, kind of wrapping up with the last couple sprays of the day. But it does feel appropriate because, iconic, but for all the wrong reasons. So that's that. I mean, there's some sounds that could come out of it, but I think it's time to close out. Do you know what time it is? I think it's time for me to end the video, to be honest. Thank you so much for everything, as I always say, and you're probably tired of hearing that, but thank you so much. I really needed this today. I needed to be in this book room looking crazy in my crazy outfit with my crazy hair that is growing out. I just appreciate everything. I really like these videos, and I think a theme of my channel is a little bit of like, what am I going to post next, because I have so many ideas. But if I do a series, I want to continue it, especially for this school year, my first year of the first year of this channel, right? When I look back, there's going to be one pros and cons video for each month, and then I can make a playlist next year. And, recording things, speaking to yourself is really important. I feel like, at least for me, just to kind of laminate the school year. I think I will have a good time watching these back if I ever choose to watch these videos, no matter what happens with the channel. So what I'm saying is, I'm going to try to be consistent with the pros and cons series. The next one will be in November if you want to come back. This series is always posted at the end of every month, so be on the lookout. But this was the pros and cons of teaching in October. I know it's time for me to go. I already said that, so thank you so much. Thank you. My name is Teddy Talks,